Well, hey there, it's Jen.
And Alka, welcome back to the Jen and Alka show, where we are doing anything and everything we could possibly do to help you understand print on demand so you can use it as a way to make money for yourself and your family. And we're so excited to present this 7-part series for you. This is part 4 in the 7-part series, and it's why more products is the wrong growth strategy for print on demand. And yeah, that is just always the big misnomer. When Jen and I were known as print on demand, and we constantly get this question, like, if I've made this many products or posted this many products already, when am I expected to have a sale? And they keep thinking that more products means more sales or even their first sale. And so today we want to get into, things like, ask yourself if you've ever been told the answer to growth is just upload more. Today's conversation is important for you because, as I mentioned, it's not the right thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
the wrong thing. And because while more products can feel productive, it's often the exact thing that's slowing your growth down. And that is so hard to hear from people thank you so much for being on. And if you're already on, who has had that feeling that they should just add more stuff and try some more because it's a chance, right? It's like what we need to do to like this, what we think we know is the best way to make that growth happen. And so put it in the chat if you thought that. And today, actually, we're going to try to help you understand that it's not more products, because that's the wrong strategy for most sellers. More products is only helpful if you already have a product that's selling that
Mm-hmm.
you want to leverage. But what actually creates momentum instead is what we're going to talk about today. So stick around for this part 4 of our 7-part live series, because it builds directly on what we've talked about so far. And if you've been on for the last 4 days, thank you so much. We love you, and keep coming on for the rest, and keep that chat box going so that we get conversation going. Yesterday we had such a great time, and we got so many questions and deep dive into things. That's what we want here. That's why we're doing it live. Otherwise, we could have just recorded these at our own convenience, and we're here live with you because we want to make you realize that it's really important to catch us when we get these lives going. We charge $1,000 an hour, and actually I'm tripping over that because it's we're going to start charging $1,500 an hour, and people pay that all the time for us. And here we are with you for an hour. Let's get going. Okay, so do you want to start with point number 1?
Sure, I'll dive into point number 1. So, point number 1 is, here we go. Volume without focus creates volume without focus creates dilution. I haven't used that word in a long time. So, every product that you add spreads your attention thinner, which means that more products that you're adding is like you especially like take it with the understanding that you're just thinking of it with the mentality that you're making more products means that you have more opportunities to sell. But every product that you add, if it's not intentional, it spreads your attention thinner. And I've gotten tripped up on this a lot as well when I was first starting out on Zazzle, and even to this day when I go into the Zazzle marketplace, I see all of these people making all of these things, right? Everyone's doing these really cool baby shower themed products. Everybody's doing all these really cool pickleball paddles. Everybody's doing these really cool golf balls and golf head club covers. And all of those things are like really cool, shiny, flashy objects to me. And I'm just sitting here thinking, how come I haven't gotten all of those products made yet? And how can I get into each and individual one of those niches or those markets? And I have to rein myself back in and say, is this actually somebody from who is my perfect customer, and is it going to follow suit with my brand, or if I'm just trying to chase the next thing to try and make more money, and before I actually even do the research to see if those things are actually selling, right? And so it is the shiny object syndrome where I'm spreading my attention very thin based on the fact that I should be reining everything in and honing in on what I should be focusing on my store, right? And when everything is a priority, nothing really is. And that brings it to that point of just saying, whenever I go into the Zazzle marketplace, I'm just amazed by so many of the amazing products. And all I want to do is spend hours and hours just getting into all of those niches. But then it also makes me feel extremely overwhelmed, and there's no focus or direction. Right. And the last thing here is that growth accelerates when effort is concentrated and not scattered. right? You focus on one thing, build the foundations of what you're working on, make sure all of your products are intentional rather than doing everything all under the sun, right? And it really helps build your brand. It helps build the credibility of your store, and it also helps build the quality of your designs, where you are able to then really focus on what you're making and hone in on your skill sets.
Mm-hmm. And we have a comment in the chat that says, we always tell people to make 100 products per month. And that is true. So if you think 100 products is a lot, and that's, going against what we're talking about here today, no, there's lots of people that use AI to generate like hundreds of products a month or even a week, and they just blast it on everything and anything. Right? That's why Jen was talking about like Zazzle has over 1,500 products that you could literally add a design to, but they don't want you to do that. They want you to decide, is this design that you're trying to add to a product actually useful on that product, right? And the 100 means that it's very focused, targeted, and specific after doing a lot of research. So we do talk about our Profit by Design Academy, which is actually open for active enrollment. And I want to say before we get anywhere, this might be the last time we offer it in 2026, because we have this extra month-long coaching program that goes with it as a bonus. And we can't keep facilitating that as a bonus for this price point. So if you want to be in on this particular round in 2026, definitely sign up for this round. Don't think that we're going to offer it later in the year, because we used to do that. We used to have open enrollment, but we stopped that in 2025. And so many people were waiting for us to open it up again in 2026. But we're really just going to open it up at least this once, but not probably more than this once. So please make sure that you get in and lock in your space right away. Okay. But and as I said, like this is why we got to the program and the PDA, we call it the PDA, but the Profit by Design Academy experience. And the reason for that is because in that course, we literally teach you what to do to make those 100 products. And we literally actually tell you exactly what products to make, and the titles and tags and the collections, and where to put it in a store category, and how to do the cover images, and literally the design and the product types. The reason is so that you learn how specific and how targeted and how researched we are with our products that we post on our Zazzle stores, and how our clients have done exactly what we're talking about here, is where they focus on and making sure that they're consistent with 100 meet the brief, intentional, best-selling, niched designs / products that they can target towards customers, so that they can get the maximum effect of being able to sell something at a higher frequency of chance. Okay. And so we want to make sure you do at least 100, but not just any old 100. And so by being in this new Profit by Design Academy experience, which we just released in September of 2025. So if you haven't been, like, if you don't have that newest version, you won't be getting that list of products that are currently the top sellers on the marketplace in Zazzle and also in print on demand. And then also not understand exactly why that design was chosen, what that design is, what products should be made, and when they should be made, and how frequently they should be made. And also to get a system so that you're actually making those 100 intentional products every month, while still making different products every month. And that's where everybody gets tripped up, is right, what to pick. So instead, like what we're doing here with this discussion, is people pick anything and everything. And you can see it as soon as you go into someone's store and you click on that button that says newest, and you see what people are putting into their store, especially in the Zazzle platform. It's easy to see that. Then you realize, since they don't have to pay for listings, they're just going all out or they're not doing enough. And we want that 100 to be your balance. Okay, awesome. And I see there's a couple more comments. Maybe I should, could you briefly touch on intentional products? In fact, intentional products is exactly what I said. Niche, like researched for a need in a specific niche that's currently trending, that people want to buy things in for a specific use that is currently the people that, like, for whatever the people want. that is in the right type of design and the right type of colors and trends in those designs. So is it a minimal design? Is it a Bridgerton theme design? Is it is it patterns? Like there was a time where polka dots was everything. If you didn't have polka dots on your designs, you were sunk. Then all of a sudden polka dots are no longer interesting. So if you don't know those trends, if you don't know specifically that you're targeting someone, so Dolores, she's doing farm cottage core stuff. So I just recently reviewed her store, and I'm going to I'm going to give her what I said in the review, in that she wasn't even focusing on what cottage core really is. She was just going like, oh, I have a rooster, so I'll stick it on a couple of things. No, you have to research what cottage core design means to those people that look up cottage core and give them what they expect. And that's intentional products. Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything? The new PDA experience is amazing. Nelda says, even as someone who has worked extensively with older versions, I picked up some very helpful strategies. There we go. Put that up on the screen for a while. Okay, while I look at part number 2. So more products don't fix unclear positioning. And so this ties us back into what I just said for Dolores. In positioning is intentionality, right? If buyers don't understand what your store stands for, more products won't help, because you've got to have clarity so that you can convert, because it basically converts better than quantity. And focus makes your store easier to understand and easier to trust. And even in this day and age where you can use Zazzle especially to build brand, so that people come to your store and they're literally understanding what you're selling and who you're selling to, which in Dolores's case would be very farm related, pets, dogs, all that stuff on farms. But when I come to her store, her banner is the only thing that makes me feel that way. Her products don't reflect that. And so I get lost as a customer in her store because I don't get it. And I'm looking for stuff because I've been trained by social media, and I've been trained by just the average like magazines and on the internet as to what cottage core means. But I'm not seeing that in the products and the designs that she's offering. And so therefore, what happens is I leave as a customer, because I've even made the effort to look at her store and just check her out, because it sounded cool and her name looks cool and she's got a really nice banner and she's got a really nice profile picture. But it's really not helping that not only does she not have enough products that meet the brief with intentionality, but she's actually just throwing a whole bunch of products up for the sake of products. And so therefore I'm confused as to what she's offering. And that confusion, not clarity, is what people don't want when they're buying. They want to go like, ooh, yes, I made this decision. I already put the effort in to click through. Where's the stuff I thought I was going to see? Okay. All right. So point number 3.
Okay. That's mine now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Uploading more often can slow your learning. When you upload constantly, it becomes harder to see what's actually working. And fewer intentional uploads create cleaner data and clearer decisions. Okay. So when you upload constantly, you're just going for the next new thing and not actually looking at the analytics or what's actually being viewed or what's working. I did a store review for someone this morning, and this person is making quite a bit of money on one of her invitations. But she's focused and has focused on so many other invitations and collections in her whole store that she's not actually really realizing what's going on with her main product that's her bestseller for 2025. And she doesn't have different variations or versions. It is in a collection, but it's not actually being leveraged. And so having more products and searching for the next new collection or the next new design trend or whatnot actually just doesn't allow you sometimes to reflect back on what's actually working in your store and how you can actually use that to your advantage. Okay. So understanding that there is money to be made on things that are already working, because you can actually in addition add things like different variations or acrylic versus paper or an arch size instead of the square edges, right? And I'm speaking about invitations here specifically, but there are other products, obviously, if you were making money, let's say on t-shirts or mugs, right? There are so many things that you can actually do to leverage the things that are actually working for you. And half of the time we've realized too that a lot of people who we work with, they have really great bestsellers, but they're not even in a collection. They're just there floating around and there's no matching accessories, there's nothing. And so they're really happy that they're making that amount of money on one product, but they're not realizing that there's actually more money to be made within what's actually working right now, because they haven't looked at the analytics or they just don't understand that concept, right? So fewer intentional uploads create cleaner data and clear decisions, and clarity comes from patience and not pressure, and understanding too that there's more information that can be searched for or found in your store while you're actually working on it, rather than just trying to find the next new thing.
Mm-hmm. And you speaking about this person who's not leveraging it because they didn't have it in a collection. What I'm noticing is the person that I reviewed this morning, and it wasn't Dolores' store, it was somebody else's who also had a really good seller, but it was in a collection, but they hadn't leveraged the collection properly. And that is one of the biggest changes that we are making to our teaching, is we usually just kept that information as to how to leverage those in our top level high-end coaching. And now we're actually already giving more of that information away in our Profit by Design Academy experience, so that you can leverage it, because you should be doing that with every single one of your products consistently. And because there's even more ways to scale and leverage after that. People, like as you just said, like they stop at the listing. They don't realize that once they have something, that's when the magic starts to happen, right? But you have to be trained and understand how all that works. And so it's, as you said, not just going to make some more products that hopefully have the same ultimate outcome. Instead, also take that product that was already finally a seller, which is always the hardest part, and using that effectively to leverage it, make the most income possible. Okay, awesome. And like in the chat, we have a couple people on. Yes, we have actually 5 people on, which is awesome. Tell us a little bit more about your experience with that, because does everyone realize that adding more products just because you're still trying to find extra good sellers, is that what you're doing? Or is it that you're not, because you don't even know what to do to leverage the products that you have selling, because you think that's already the last step? Yeah, we want to just hear from you while I bring to the next point here. Okay, so the next point is focus creates momentum, because that's what we're talking about today, right? Momentum doesn't come from activity, it comes from traction. And that's a word that I used a lot when we were first teaching, and because like your product has gotten traction. Everybody, no matter whether you're on Etsy or in Shopify or on Zazzle or Redbubble, Society6, whatever you want, if your product doesn't get seen and then sold, you don't have any traction, right? But once it gets that first sale, especially on Zazzle, all of a sudden the algorithm changes as to what happens with that product. It gets shown more. It gets put into Google Ads that Zazzle's paying for. It gets seen more on Google searches that are just random organic searches, and it gets obviously put in the top popular sort of the Zazzle sort when someone searches for those keywords, and that's traction. And so if you don't understand what traction is, then that first sale and then maybe the second and third sale are such important sales. But then if you just let it slide after that, we've had a lot of people who didn't do what's necessary. And then like we've known and come across people that go like, well, I had these bestsellers, but then they kind of died out. And we go like, because you didn't do the traction steps to keep them in traction, because then it's got a little bit of momentum, and then it's time for you to do very specific steps so that you can actually give them like life of their own, so that they can get that traction and keep growing and scaling as a popular seller. You want to understand how people have 100,000 plus views on the Zazzle platform with some of their products. And also, like for me, I don't know what's my top one. I think my top one, yeah, I think it's almost at 100,000, and my top one has given me like almost $100,000 in royalty, and so you understand then the significance of the traction if you do it right. And we've been doing it right since 2013, 15, even before that. And so just understand that that is what you get if you come in to get some more high level coaching. And what you really want to understand is that small number of products that are built intentionally, we're actually going to give you results compounded faster than if you just blitz and put so many products out there and hope that something like a sink or swim, throw spaghetti against the wall kind of thing. And growth feels easier when you do that intentionally too, which is really important, right? Like, can you imagine if someone said, "Oh, you have to make 1,000 products every week in order to have a chance on any print-on-demand company or platform?" Who would feel really overwhelmed? And I'm going to look at the comments to see if you guys are awake. I don't see a lot of people say yes or no. We need some. Yeah. The last comment was 5 minutes ago. Come on, yes or no. You know how to post. You know how to comment. Okay, awesome. And so if you now had a technique and a strategy and a way to do things that made it easier because you could focus on less volume, how would you feel? How would you feel? Come on. Anan says me. Cats and Cat says yes. But now we need the second question answered. Dolores waves her hand. Coastal Creative has her hand up. Okay, good. It's too small an emoji for me to see it properly. Okay, but how would you feel? Wonderful, says Dolores. Okay, awesome. Keep going. Who else would say what they feel? Terrible? Do you feel terrible? No, not at all. Right? You'd feel good. But yet no one is really sort of feeling like it's possible for them. Anan says, great. Yeah, because that's, and sit in that feeling and go, okay, do I want to suffer? Like, is that the way that I think people can, like, I can do this? Or is there an easier, more comfortable, more sustainable, authentic, aligned way to do things in the print on demand space than just hustle? Okay, because that's what you're doing by throwing all these products up. You're hustling. Okay. And Cats and Cat says, yes, wonderful, would feel good. And Coastal Relief says, relief because of the focus. Exactly. Ooh, I've got Sarah in the mix now. Great, she says. Awesome. Okay, we're allowed to go on to the next point. Okay, we've got some interaction here. That's the most important thing. We're here to help you. So we have to get out of your shell. We're all introverts. Don't worry. We're just here as casual in room here with a couple people, and you have a chance to really explore this as to why things might be stuck for you right now. Okay. Awesome. You're typing, so I'm not sure. Are you ready to do point 5?
Yep, I am. So scalable stores expand intentionally and not randomly. So high performing stores don't add products just to add products. And I mean, we've touched on that pretty much throughout this entire video, explaining that, but it's very true. Like, for example, Brandon and Christine and anyone who we speak about, even one of our up and coming students, Joe, who's been with us for the last year, she came to our Mallorca Mastermind last year in October. Last year, and or now it's like, well, not last year, but 2 years ago now. Yeah.
Well, October 24.
Yeah, so 2 years ago in October. And she's blowing it out of the water, right? And she has gone from basically making $0, because when she first came into our community a year and a bit ago, she was, just starting out on Zazzle, and now she's hitting upwards, almost not there yet, but almost towards the $100,000 mark of earnings, right? And that's amazing. And
it hit. I have to stand corrected because it's 550,000 she hit just recently in lifetime earnings, and she's averaging now around 5,000 a month in net profit. Yeah.
which is amazing. And it's because she learned from us and is intentionally adding products in her store and knows what works and what doesn't and taking our advice. Same with Brandon and Christine. They're not just randomly adding products to add products. Brandon only has a certain amount of hours to work per day because he has a 9 to 5 job, a very high end job that is demanding in terms of the hours worked. And when he first started out with us in terms of our community, he said, I only have this amount of time during the week. Like, what do I need to make sure that my efforts are actually being rewarded? Rather than me just having, just trying things out and seeing what works, right? And so you have to know that you can't just add products, and adding products doesn't mean that you have more possibilities of earning. Of course, the more products you have out there that are intentional, the more possibilities you have of earning money, because there's more like versions and variations and different design themes, etc. But you have to be really intentional about what you're putting out there. And Zazzle's platform has changed so much. When Elk and I first started out online working on Zazzle in 2008, it like the design qualities, the skill sets that were needed were not high caliber. And now you go into Zazzle, and yes, unfortunately, we have to be a little bit more proactive in either purchasing graphics or making graphics, potentially using AI to make graphics if that's your thing. But you have to step up to the plate and be at that caliber that Zazzle is showcasing on their, on their marketing and on their homepage. Because if you're not uh, in that group of people who is able to produce at that high of a quality, then unfortunately your products aren't going to sell, right? Clip art is not in anymore. I just critiqued somebody's store, and they had a lot of these really random T-shirts that had sayings on them, but it was, not old, like not even anything that really made sense. And so that was many years ago what sold on Zazzle. But nowadays you have to really work at understanding the design quality that needs to be presented, and have it be intentional as well. So every new product supports something that already works, but it's also understanding it and being intentional about the future products too. We're not telling you that you shouldn't make new products. Of course, we should make new products and go into new either niches or sub niches and explore, right? And have a variety of products available in your store, but don't just randomly put things out there without doing your research first.
Yeah. And I put this comment up. I don't know if you saw that already, but from Nelda, she said, I had a product that I designed in 2017 that until last year had no sales and maybe only 30 views. I designed a new collection, I designed new collections to boost it and others. And this month I've sold 7. And then she said something about, of that 2017 product, I felt vindicated that it wasn't a bad designer in 2017. And yeah, it's congratulations, by the way. And that is actually what can happen sometimes. One of the people that I reviewed a store for recently, they actually had a whole bunch of stuff that they already had locked in as a solid, really nice design back like 2 years before it became popular. And so you never really know. And by keeping up with the trends and understanding whether or not something, like as Nelda said, like she's worried that she's a good designer, but she's an excellent designer. But the idea is that sometimes you take it personally, but really you just have to understand the market trends. And that might have been a design that Nelda put up there without it being that popular at the time, right? It was just starting out. And same with that store review person that I reviewed the store for. I basically suggested to them, like, listen, if you are very clear on your research and you know that what you made back 2 years ago is actually trending more now than it was back then revive that product. Like either post all those products again, or like what Nelda did is just revive it by adding it into a collection and maybe adding a couple more products to your store that have the same design. So listen, there's so many ways that you can leverage your assets that you already have, especially if you already started out as an intentional product and did the research at the time and knew that it was supposed to be trending or starting to trend, and just the customers hasn't come up, like they hadn't sort of come up with you, right? And now you need to just put it back in front of their viewing scope, which is somehow make it more active or interesting, and put it back out there, pin on Pinterest or whatever you need to do in order for it to get more eyeballs on your product, and so that you can start selling it like it happened for Nelda. So congrats. And I hope that really like you can really understand there again, that leveraging your products that were intentional to start with is even more profitable and more logical to do than it is to then go like, well, that didn't work, I have to do something else, and keep trying. Okay. And Tina, now it's Coastal Creative. You got your YouTube channel back. Awesome. Good. And then Nina says, things I uploaded years ago and thought they would sell. If I look on them today, I feel shame. Well, see, everyone goes through a process. Even Jen and I, like, we left up our designs on purpose if they haven't already been hidden by Zazzle, because they weren't like, Zazzle does hide them after a while if they haven't had any views in like almost 3 years. But they're for us as like to look to see how far we've come, right? Everyone starts out in a place where maybe that skill set isn't developed as much as you think it should be. And then you just know that now you've come that much further, which is really awesome. So don't be too hard on yourself. And then Dama Vida says, I sold 2 wrapping paper rolls to different clients in a design. Should I create more products based on that design? I would say 2 is a little bit like quick to the gate. I would give it like 2 or 3 more sales before you realize it's like a big, like something you can take and run away with. So that would be my suggestion for that. But kudos on your 2 sales. Okay. All right. So what point are we on? We just got totally like geeked out about all of this. Did you?
I did point number 5, so you're probably on point number 6.
Okay, awesome. Point number 6, busy doesn't mean profitable. A full to-do list can really feel assuring. We've all been there, but busyness often hides misalignment. And if there's nothing else that you can take away from all the times that we've been coaching since we started coaching in 2016 with our first course in December, is that alignment is important, right? Intentionality is important, and focus is important. We always talk about that because we want you to profit, and profit comes from clarity, not chaos. And we always, just like Jen mentioned earlier, we always try to focus on making sure that this doesn't become another job for us. We want our business to work for us. We don't want to work for our business. And yes, we have to work to some degree, but we have to set it up so that even something like what Nelda did, where she posted something in 2015 or 17 that's now being leveraged. So she didn't have to redo that whole design to get those 7 sales now. She leveraged something that she realized could still be leveraged, even though she did the work back then. She just has to do a little bit more work now to make it something that is profitable. Whereas if she hadn't realized that, she'd be trying to make a new product and see if it sold 7 times too. Right? And so always understand that you're running a business long-term, and that every action you take is to build a foundation and allow your business to grow, then compared to just scrambling and something works. And I hope that really becomes clear with all of the points we made today, which all kind of come back to the same thing. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so what's the last point?
All right, well, that's the closing. And so we're just going to wrap up and say, if you're feeling overwhelmed or stretched thin, the answer is usually it isn't do more, it's to do less, but better. And so, like I mentioned, going back and realizing what's working for you in your Zazzle store and how you can really leverage that. And then so we have our free diagnostic that is in the link in the description below. If you want help understanding how to really audit your Zazzle store to see what's working and what's not working. And this kind of ties in with this video, because if you're just making a lot of products in your store, but you're not seeing the results, then there's something else underlying that's the issue, whether that be design, whether that be intentional products, whether that be the foundation. So if you're putting time and effort into your print-on-demand business or your Zazzle business and your sales still feel inconsistent, And the free diagnostic is for you. It is called the Ignite Your Print on Demand Success, the Ultimate Growth Diagnostic, and it's linked in the description. And I'm also going to put it here in the comment section, and that will help you understand what's going on in your Zazzle store, to help you see that you probably need some help, because the way that you're working on Zazzle, I mean, Nelda excluded, because Nelda is part of all of our courses and been part of our community for a long time. But if something's not working in your Zazzle store, then that's probably the reason why, right? Is that you don't have the proper foundations, or you don't have a proven plan. And so that is for you, and it's in the chat and in the comment section.
Okay, so, and one last thing, because we're on live here, on the 16th of January, which is this Friday, we are doing a Valentine's Day challenge. We're really excited about that.
Say it again, because I don't know what happened, but it, like, because you got really excited, the audio kind of cut out. So
okay, well, you say it then.
Oh, on January 16th, we're doing a holiday design challenge for Valentine's Day, and you can register or sign up, and it is on the 16th of January at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What just happened to the banner?
Oh, is it just, oh, it's a timer. That's what's going on. Hold on one second. I'm going to timer off. There we go. So January 16th, our streaming system has updated where we can do timers on banners and things like that. So January 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be doing a holiday design challenge for Valentine's Day. And we have a YouTube video that has been released today as well, and amongst this live video, to help you see what to post for sale for Valentine's Day. And so if you wanted to come to that challenge, there is a link to sign up and register for Zoom, which I can grab in a second here. And you don't have to post a invitation for sale for the Valentine's Day. You can post anything or any product that's related to Valentine's Day. And the same format that we've done with all of our other design challenges is that you take the time and effort to make your product, and then you show up to the live call with myself and Elka, and then you will present the link to us in the chat, on the live call, and we will do a personalized review for you. Depending on how many people sign up, we will try and guarantee that you get a review. But if there's more people than we have for that hour, then unfortunately we'll just do a selection. But either way, we always learn from other people's reviews as well. And so many people love this whole format and experience, because it's just so much fun for me personally, because I love doing all the designs. And then we learn a lot in between, because there's some mistakes that people make, or they don't do their templates properly, or the text bounding boxes. Like, I will dive deep into going into like what's going on with your product if there are issues, and then you'll learn from all of those things that we are correcting.
But it's also not just like checking to see if you did your text bounding boxes right. It's also about understanding the intentionality. So Dolores is always asking about, what does it mean to be an intentional product? This is where you'll learn. And then your last question, Dolores, was what do you mean by leveraging? You're part of our Profit by Design Academy experience. So please go and watch the training in there, because we're not going to give that away here. You have all the steps there. So, and anyone else who wants to know how to leverage, please join the Profit by Design Academy experience. And yeah, so this that's all we've got for today. And I put the link in the chat to register for the design challenge. So and watch that Valentine's Day video. We just got so much stuff going for you, because we really want you to succeed in 2026. And so let's do it together. And come back for tomorrow's part 5 of the 7-part series, Lunch with Jen and Elka. Okay, take care.
Okay, bye.